Here I've got a Pioneer DEH-P6400. It's not in the best shape. There's some chrome flaking from the trim around each of the volume knob and like directional pad. Also some wear on the Pioneer badge and the silk screening, but it does work. Go ahead and turn it on. And cool thing about this generation and a couple of generations around this time, the volume knob actually pushes in and can come out. And when you're done with it, you can push it and put it away. And right now it's just on radio static, so you'll hear some static coming from my speakers. The speaker is hooked up to the radio through the front RCA jacks, and it converts it to an aux cable. So that's where the static is coming from. The faceplate on these just flips down and hides the CD player. I actually got this CD inside of it from the game, so I'll just put it back in. It was inside the radio when I bought it. And you can see that it plays just fine. You can use the left arrow to change the track. And it plays them just fine. There's no skipping or anything. I'm going to go ahead and lower the volume to avoid any copyright claims. But all the buttons work. Here we have the SFEQ. You can check out my other video where I do a quick explanation of what that audio feature is. But we also have the pause button to pause your CD. Push it again to keep it playing. Up here we have the audio button. And it does have fade and balance. So faders for front and rear, balance for right or left. 3-band parametric EQ. A couple of kind of crossover type settings for the bass and treble. That's also covered in that video I referenced earlier. Loudness, source level adjustment, and that's pretty much it. You can also turn on or off repeat, random, track scan, pause. If you hold the function button, you can give the CD a title and it'll display it. I'll go ahead and title it just Game, after the rapper that released that album. Also, it's only 4 letters, so I won't have to take long doing this. And the way you do that is by pushing up and down until you get the letters that you want. And once you're done naming it, you push the right button until you see this indicator blinking. And then push function and go ahead and exit. And it will default to the title of the CD. So as far as the display goes, you can go between the disc title and the track timer. There's also the clock on or off. And if I go ahead and hit entertainment, we can go through the different visualizers. I actually had someone comment and asked for a specific visualizer where an eagle is flying through the Twin Towers. So we'll keep an eye out for that one on the radios that I end up testing. So here we have a crankshaft with some pistons going. Some sort of technology video. We got a gyroscope type thing. The VU meters. Kind of a spectrum analyzer for the left and right channels for the 3 bands. So one is, I can't tell which one, but one is the low, one would be the mid, one would be the high. And if it was dolphins, everyone loves dolphins. Pioneer race cars, another common one to see. Here we got a pendulum with the clock, and that's it. So using the function button, you can change the time on the clock, warning tone, auxiliary input. That would be the IP bus connector in the back, or P bus. I see it referenced to as well. The dimmer, brightness, the subwoofer control. If you want it as front and rear, or front and subwoofer, it would change the audio settings for it, and we can see how that looks. That's front and subwoofer, front and rear. And those are the only 2 options. Then you also have your telephone. I've never seen this hooked up to a telephone. Maybe I can find a Pioneer telephone to check this out with. But we'll go through and go to front and SW. I'll turn the unit on. Go to the audio settings. Got the EQ, bass and treble, loudness. And here we have subwoofer controls. So that's the subwoofer on or off. And you can also set the subwoofer low pass filter, so 80 Hz, 50 Hz, or 125 Hz. And using the up and down buttons, you can change the level as well. So So that's really cool to switch between the two depending on what you need the rear outputs to do. That's with the subwoofer option turned on. So I can just test the CD mechanism out a couple times to show that CDs can be put in and taken out easily without any problems. So it just slid in, no problems, no stopping or anything. Go ahead and push the eject button. Comes out fine. You can see that it goes straight to the tuner. Drop the faceplate, try it again. CD starts playing fine. I'm able to skip the track, drop the faceplate, and it's good to go. Here I've got another Pioneer DEH-P6400, and this one's also in not the greatest condition with the flaking around the chrome that is on the volume knob trim piece, as well as some flaking over here. So another common thing with these older head units and this style of faceplate is if the contacts don't make the best connection. I'm moving it quite a bit, so it's actually not responding, so that's really good. But a lot of times you'll see lights flicker when you push on the buttons or try to use any of the features. So anyways, this one works fine. It's hooked up with the RCA cables. And I'll go ahead and turn up the volume. You can hear the radio static coming from my soundbar. Go ahead and lower the volume, drop the faceplate, and test out the CD player to make sure that it works. Load it up fine. It's reading fine. Buttons work to cycle through the tracks. So CD player is reading just fine. All the audio functions that are typical on this head unit are here. Entertainment, all the videos play. Notice that the faceplate is flexing some when I push the button and it's not flickering or anything, so that's really good. You can also turn the clock on or off. Overall, this head unit's ready to go also. Just get a quick shot of all the Here's just a quick shot of all the buttons. Better view of all the wear that is on the faceplate. But it works just fine. And I'll go ahead and eject the CD. CD comes out perfectly fine. Go ahead and try it again. I did notice the eject button is pretty sensitive. You touch it just a little bit and it will react. So you see my finger will barely make contact. Oh well, it feels a little more sensitive. It doesn't have you don't get that click feel, but it does work. No issues with that. It just doesn't have that click feel. But see, mechanism works fine. Faceplate's on. Change it to the tuner. And we got radio static. It's all good.